Live in PDX brings you closer to the talent, artists, events, and businesses. Live in PDX supports and appreciates what all professions, individuals, and groups have to offer. We'll take you to the music, to the fashion, to the hot rods and sports. All the entertainment and food you can indulge yourself in, and more. So join us live in PDX. Hey, what's happening, world? Hey, another episode. We are again live in PDX. It's your guy, J Mac. Another dozen media exclusive. Right now, I'm at the studio, Wilde Vision Studios, with the man himself, Mr. Julian James Wilde. How you doing today?
Hey. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for joining us. I'm excited, man. I've been a fan of your work for many years, you know what I'm saying? And
since I shot the cover
since you shot
of
the
You
cover.
Cruise.
Right. Very first album cover.
I had to remind you.
You did, man. I was totally like, wait a minute, you were that guy. That's crazy, man.
I had actually just gotten to Portland at that point. I'd put in 7 years in Seattle, and one thing or the other brought me to Portland. And Mav, who was managing you guys, was one of the reasons I came to Portland.
Is that right?
So the fact that I shot your guys' cover in my studio at that point that's what was happening for me.
That's cool, man. Yeah. That is so cool. Now, you've done other things prior to launching your Wilde Vision Studios. You know, you were doing nightclub stuff for a while, right?
Well, you know, for about, I had created the Crown Ballroom, and that was upstairs at the Adriana Hill. But the Adriana Hill, I had that for 7 years, but that actually was a special event space.
Right.
We would do weddings, corporate parties, and we would do them 3 times a week.
And photo shoots, right?
Yeah, and I never stopped shooting.
Okay.
But there came a point where my focus definitely had to be on the Crown Ballroom and the Adriana Hill. And so that we could create a space where we could attract 400 to 500 people a night.
Let me ask you this: what made you want to first pick up the camera and start photographing? What sparked that interest?
What a long and strange story that is.
Well, we got a little time.
Right? I got to go back to. I'll go back to junior high when I would find myself. This is a story that I usually don't tell. I would find myself in a Safeway, if you will.
Okay.
And if Mom had gone shopping, she might find me in front of the hair color part of the deal, where all of these beautiful pictures of these beautiful girls on the cover of these hair things.
Okay, like hair color.
They are.
Yeah.
And I would stand there looking at those girls and go, wow, this would be fun. And that was the first time that it occurred to me that would be fun. And that was the only kind of association I had with that until I was in college, and I was in the bookstore at Rutgers University, and I was going through the books, and I picked up a Helmut Newton book. Was it White Women? I think it was White Women. I cracked that open, and I started thumbing through that. And of course, I wasn't a photographer at that point.
Okay.
I hadn't even thought of photography. But there was a picture in there, page 57 of Charlotte Rampling. Charlotte Rampling had just done, she was the hottest starlet in Hollywood, and she had just done Night Porter.
Okay.
I don't know, this is before your time.
Probably before my time.
Okay, I'll be honest with you. It was Night Porter, but Helmut Newton was shooting her in this, as he would, shooting her in this elegant suite in a European, probably Paris, Monte Carlo kind of a thing.
Okay.
And she was sitting on a dining table and looking over her shoulder. It was a nude shot. And she was looking over her shoulder at the camera. And that one picture, if you want to talk about the power of photography,
yes,
that one picture changed my life. That one picture, I thought, that's what I want to do. And I was in the middle of college at that point, and it wasn't, that's what I want to do.
Yes.
It's like, no, this is what I have to do.
Gotcha.
I stopped going to classes at that very day. And I thought, I've got to do this. I've just got to do this. And it wasn't Helmut Newton's work in general, and it wasn't really the idea of photography, but it was the idea of photography blended with eroticism, beautiful locations, and
beautiful women,
and stunning women. And that particular equation really fired my jets. At that point, there was no stopping me. I ended up having my own studio a couple of years after that, and it just took off, and there was no turning back. Gotcha. There was never a moment where I thought, you know, do I really want to do this? Am I up for this? Is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? Those questions never occurred to me. I was off and running, and this is what I'm doing.
That is sweet.
And there's no way around it.
How have you had to make adjustments with the technical aspects of things? Let me say that, because when you first started, the cameras were a little bit different then. Did you have your, what you call it, the dark room where you do your own film?
And I loved that. I loved that. I loved getting my hands in there and working the prints. And
Yes.
But it's a longer story, but I knew at the age of 16, I found out that I was colorblind. So I thought that color photography was not available to me. That's just what I thought. So I shot black and white on film for almost 20 years.
Wow.
I mean, that's all I did. I didn't shoot a speck of color. I shot black and white on film for 20 years, because I could develop my own film. I could see the stuff now.
Right.
And I printed my own stuff, which means I could shoot and an hour later have a print in my hands.
Now,
It
you
would
went
take
to school?
45 minutes to develop it.
You
No.
went to school for all of that?
No, when I told my dad, I said, I'm going to do this.
Uh-huh.
He said, well, you know, isn't there the Claremont School of Photography down in California? He said, well, shouldn't you go to school? My first thought was, I have no interest in learning how they're doing it. I want to do this on my own. If it means I fall down over and over and over, I'm willing to fall down, pick myself up as many times as it takes to learn this on my own. That's a hard way to do it.
Hey.
But that's the way I was going to do it.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
I just want to learn this on my own. I want to do it my way and see where that takes me.
That's dope. It's
But that's a harder road.
Yeah, it is.
So,
like
yeah.
self-taught musicians, you know, I had a couple friends that never went to a music class, you know, never studied notes, don't know how to read music, but they know what they want.
Yeah.
And they hear it in their head, and they train themselves how to get those sounds out of their head onto the tracks. Do you do something similar? Like
So self-taught is a hard road. Sometimes I'll reflect on the fact that we were talking about the fact that I do workshops here, and I wish that I could have done a workshop with myself years ago and start out right here, start out at this level.
I got you.
But I started out, I'm using a camera that when you take an image, you don't even know if it's in focus for 20 years. For 20 years, you don't even know if that image is in focus because it's not digital. You know, you don't know if you even have a decent exposure. I did that for 20 years. So that teaches you something about photography that you can't learn off a digital camera. That takes a picture, now you look at it, you know how to adjust the exposure.
Right.
I did 20 years of taking a picture and not knowing whether my exposure was on or not.
Wow.
That is a real education.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you pick up photography now, when somebody gives you a digital camera and you take a picture, you're almost at this level right now.
Yeah.
That's a different learning curve.
With the technology.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So do you still use some of your old cameras as well as the new?
Not at all. I'll never go back to a film camera.
Okay.
Because digital is so convenient.
Yes.
And
Plus you're super busy, so you don't have
it's
time to probably develop.
It's the immediate response
Yeah.
that tells you right now you're off to the races, you know, and it gives you a confidence to get so much more done in a X amount of time.
Gotcha.
You know, so yeah, digital is obviously where it is. I think guys will go to their film cameras out of some sense of nostalgia, but I'm too busy for that. We need to get in and get it done now.
I got you. So do you find that, I mean, I love your studio, the way you got it set up in here and the various pictures I see, and then the you know, the slides that we're looking at right
Well,
now.
but everything changes. Like, see that piece of furniture?
Yes.
Sold long ago. We'll bring in some furniture that inspires us. We'll shoot it for maybe a couple of months, maybe a year, and then it's out the door because I need room for something new.
Gotcha.
Because I got to change up the whole palette.
Like that white leather couch right here now.
Right, yeah, that's gone too.
Right.
Yeah. You bring it in, you shoot it, you get tired of it. It's fun to have friends that say, do you need a sofa?
Right,
You know?
right.
They come and get it. But that's how we keep it interesting. That sofa right there.
I see.
Shawna, we have kept, but the sofa's gone.
Shawna's still here.
Yeah,
right on,
yeah.
right on.
But that's the trick to having a studio like this. And my kind of photography is all about the ambience of the place. And I
Okay.
never want it to look like a photography studio.
It
That's one
doesn't.
thing
It
that
looks
I.
like you're somewhere.
Yeah,
like a,
you are somewhere
like
else.
a palace or yeah.
And my
that's what I
favorite
get. It's
question
very
about my stuff is,
elegant.
well, where was this shot? Because it doesn't look like a photography studio.
It doesn't.
I would have no interest in even my place looking like a photography studio. That would just, it wouldn't occur to me. I wouldn't
got
want to
you.
do it, you know? So I do this, and I have a lot of fun with that. I actually went to school for architecture, so you're kind of seeing me at full stride when you see the architecture that I built and the
Wow.
girls that I work with and the styling that my wife does. You're really seeing what we do.
It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. Now, do you focus mainly just on your in-studio photography, or is there anything you ever do outside of the studio, like on location shots?
J-Mac,
Or?
I shoot two places.
Okay.
Here and at the beach.
Okay.
That's it.
okay,
That's it.
Okay.
There's no other place. You're not gonna see me on the street shooting.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Yeah, because I looked at a lot of your work and I've never seen any.
I
like,
started out on the street though.
got
I
you.
started for
I got
years.
you.
I shot a couple years on the street until I found my first studio. Here's something I've never talked about, but on my first studio, Raven doesn't even know this, but when I found my first studio, it was just $700, which is a lot of money back then. Okay, it was $700. I didn't have $700, but I did have two cameras that I could pawn. So I pawned my two cameras,
To get this-
got the $700, opened up my studio, but I still had to get my cameras back.
Gotta get your cameras.
So if you want to talk about scary times, that was a little bit scary, but I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I was gonna do it.
That's an interesting
so
sacrifice.
I was
mean,
willing to give away the only thing I had to
get your
achieve
place.
more and to achieve a studio.
So how'd you get your
And I
cameras
did that.
back? How'd you get your cameras back?
Well, I had some girls that I was shooting through the Seattle Models Guild, and they came in and they ordered prints.
Okay.
I got my $700, but you know what? The thing about rent, it comes up again next month.
up again.
So I had to pawn my cameras one more time.
Wow.
And then I got my cameras back, and that was the last time I had to pawn my cameras. But there was a moment where I was standing there with rent due and no camera to shoot with. So that was kind of exciting, as exciting goes.
I got you. I got you. What's the highlight of what you do? I mean, when I talk to other artists, as well as photographers or videographers for that matter, what is really what sets you off? Like, man, this was a great day. This is whew.
I'm going to be honest with you. Honestly, almost every day is like that. Almost every day is like that.
Wow.
So I'm in a situation where I'm fortunate enough to shoot with the people I want to shoot with. Okay.
great.
I'm not a guy that has a sign on the door that says photographer for hire. Did you
Right.
see that sign on the door?
I did not.
That sign's not on the door,
It's
baby.
not on the door.
So I get to shoot with the people that I want to work with, and
Mm-hmm.
that's probably the greatest. That freedom is really the greatest joy in this business, is getting to do what you want to do
Yes.
every day of the week
Yes.
with the people that you want to play with.
Can't beat
And
that.
I can't find a better equation. That's for me, that works.
That's
That's
cool.
I'll sign up for that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Is there-
that's what we're doing.
That's
you
what's
know?
up, man.
The people that you see on here, these are the people that I get to play with on a day in, day out basis.
I gotta come and hang out a little more, I think.
You need to. You need to. Yeah.
Is there anyone that you haven't shot that you would like to shoot? I'll let you think about it.
I said I'd do that,
right.
but I was going to give you a longer pause. Not so much. Not so much. My photography is not so much, if you will, about the model, but it's about the experience.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not like if I put a famous model on there, that shot gets better.
Right.
Some magazine might think it's better because, oh, it's Madonna.
Mm.
But I'm not really drawn to that. I'm drawn to creating what I can create with the people that are in my life.
Got
you know, because that means something to me.
Sure, sure.
And if I shot Madonna, well, what would that mean to me? Not really a heck of a lot. It might impress somebody.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything to me, you know.
Yeah.
So I shoot with the people that I care about. You know?
How do you set the tone for your shots? You know what I mean? Because they're very like sensual. They're very glamorous, and they're very kind of laid back, sexy. You know what I mean? How do you get the models into that vibe?
Well, there's a couple of things that go into that. One of the things, it's fair for me to say that a lot of this stuff happens in my head first. Except for that picture. She's one of our dear friends, and I was shooting her from the other side. Raven comes around the back of the piano, and Raven goes, "You got to see this." And I come around the back of the, and I go, "Okay, well, that's worth shooting." And that happened to be the shot.
Right,
you know,
right.
from the whole thing.
So how's it working with Raven? Because she's your eye in the sky, I think. You know
Well,
what
no,
I mean?
she's more than that.
Okay.
That blanket that she's lying on,
Yes.
Raven found that on the internet and said, "We've got to go pick that up." But Raven does find virtually all of the furniture. All of the furniture in here.
Raven, I need
she
you to
finds
help me
it.
with my
Yeah.
my home.
And she dresses all the models. I mean, all of the jewelry and everything. So she's definitely, she's not the unsung hero in my book. She's thus the hero in my book.
That's sweet,
because she's
man.
making a lot of this happen.
That's absolutely wonderful, man. I dig it.
But the tricky part, the secret weapon part of the whole thing is having a relationship with your models where, well, you have a great relationship, you know? And that's one of the reasons that I love shooting with kind of a core of people more than bringing in somebody new all the time. You need new blood all the time, but I don't focus on that. I don't focus on tracking girls down that I want to shoot. I let them come to me that want to shoot with us because that tells me they like what we're doing.
Yes.
And if they like what we're doing, and I sure as hell like it, we've got something to work with.
That's great.
You know?
That's great.
But having that relationship where I know that if I have an idea for a shot, that so-and-so can do it, that's what makes it happen. You know, if I have an idea for a shot and I don't have somebody that can do it, hey, I've had ideas that I've had in my back pocket for years.
Yes.
7, 8 years. Couldn't do that shot, didn't have the right girl.
Wow.
You know? So it's a blend of kind of knowing what you want and then having people that can pull it off.
Okay,
You know?
okay. Well, we had some questions from some of our viewers that wanted to ask these questions, you know, when they knew that I was going to be interviewing you. So I want to ask you a couple of these just so we can answer a couple of questions for our folks out there. All right, this is a good one right here. When you go on vacation, do you take your camera with you? Because it's like, you know, sometimes it's like, you know, you go on vacation, it's like, hey, I'm turning my cell phone off. I don't want to do any work. I'm just going to be relaxing.
You know, on vacation, I'm a different dude.
Okay.
I'm the dude that Raven loves when I'm on vacation.
Okay.
More so than any other time. But when we go on vacation, we unplug. I mean, we're gonna bring a tent.
Okay.
We're gonna camp out on the river.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna collect rocks. That's
There
what I
you go.
do. I
That's
collect
what's
rocks.
up.
And that is when Raven will turn to me and say, you know, Julian, you're at your best right now.
That's dope.
The rest of the time, I don't know. But,
okay.
Yeah, so we totally unplug. No, I don't even think the conversation of are you going to bring your camera never even comes up because there's no way.
Yeah.
We're unplugged all the way.
I got you.
You know, and so for 4 or 5 days, that's the way it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. One other question. If you weren't a professional photographer right now, what would you be doing?
A lot of people will say cab driver, but I can't drive. I can't drive to save my life. I'm lucky enough that there's just nothing else I want to do.
Oh, wow.
And I think that coincides with the fact that I'm not really qualified to do anything else other than my first job, which was as a head lifeguard. I was a good lifeguard.
Okay.
But that was in college. But that's the last other job I've had. So I can't, and I don't see anybody doing anything that I go, you know, I want to do what he's doing.
Got you.
I do have people kind of want to do what I'm doing, but I don't see anybody doing something that I want to do. So I'll do this until the bitter end, or whatever it is. You know,
Yeah.
I'm happy doing this. I have a couple friends around my age that will go, you know, Julian, what are you going to do when you retire? I'm never going to retire. I don't want to play golf. There's nothing else I want to do. You know, so I'll do this.
That's
you know,
sweet, man.
I have the same passion for it that I had when I was 22.
Wow.
It hasn't dimmed an iota. And I'm lucky that way.
Because it's always new. It's always something creative. You know, when you're creative, it's like it's something new every time.
A lot of my friends will talk about like having writer's block or having a photographer's block. And I feel really lucky that I've never had that. I've never had a moment where I don't, what am I excited about? And that's kind of my question that I ask my friends a lot of times, what are you excited about? Because I mean, this is what I'm excited about. And it luckily enough, hasn't changed.
That's sweet, man. That's sweet. How does it feel to have so many of the models that you work with posting, you know, your photographs and showing you all that love? Because I look at some of the models and I'll go to their page and they got like, wow, she shot that at Julian's studio. That was done there, because I recognize the backgrounds and I see it a lot, you know. How does that feel to have your work spread in so many different avenues and so many of your models supporting you this way?
It's very gratifying. You know, I couldn't say anything other than the fact that it's very gratifying. And for people to understand what we're doing and want to be a part of it, it's the greatest compliment that I could think of.
Sure.
It means a lot to me. And I have a tendency to work with those people. People that are on the fence about me, they'll be on the fence for 20 years. You know, I have a tendency to work with the people that have to work with me.
Gotcha.
That I'm not gonna stop modeling until I shoot with Julian. You know, and I hear that from time to time.
Yeah, it's
I've
out
been
there.
wanting to shoot with you.
It's out there
For 20 years.
Right.
Well, 20 years, baby. It's come and gone. That train left the station.
Hey. So do you have people like banging your door down to get in here and to, you know, get a shot with you, or are you just kind of like content
if
with
you were
what
talking
have?
about social media, God
Yes.
knows I've got, you know, probably 30, 40 girls that think they're gonna shoot with me at some point. Whether that happens or not, I can't tell you.
I got you.
But I have a tendency to have a certain thing in mind. I'm looking for a certain look, and if the girl doesn't have that look, the chance of getting here slim to far between, because it's a certain look that we're going for.
Sure.
And a certain look works in here.
Yes.
Imagine that girl wearing a Daisy Duke top and frayed jeans.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. It's not going to
wouldn't
work.
work.
So
Yeah.
I have a certain kind of branding thing that I am always following.
Yeah.
I don't shoot a different look because it's different.
Right.
You know, I have a certain look that works for me, and I'm sticking with it.
There you
It's
go.
just kind of what you're seeing. You know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
I'm enjoying
and I did have a girl do that. I did have a girl show up,
Uh-huh.
and she pulled out the Daisy Duke top and the frayed jeans. And I looked at her and I said, "Honey, where do you see yourself shooting that here?" You know.
Outside?
It does happen. It does happen. Yeah, I'll take you out to the park. But that doesn't happen a lot because most people understand what we're doing, and they kind of want to sign up for that.
Got you.
And that's what keeps it going.
That's cool. What's one of the most difficult things about getting that perfect shot that you've ran into? Because I know a lot of photographers will say, you know, I might take 200-300 snaps of this same, you know, person to get that one.
I think we're different in that category.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons is because I use a core of models on a regular basis.
Okay.
And I know what I want. Whatever the shot is, I really know what it is. And they all know that I'm going to model that shot for them. It's just what I do.
Yes.
You know, I will.
I mean, you did it for us.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it in lingerie, but I will do that. I will model that shot, and I do it almost 100% of the time because I do know what I want. I know the light's coming from this direction. I know that I'm shooting a horizontal shot, which means the composition has to work this way, and that kind of tells me, you know, the parameters of what's going to work. I do it. The models do it. And I'll give them the opportunity to kind of play with it, you know, make it their own, whatever. But if I'm using models that I know what they can do, and I know what they can do well, and I know what they bring to the party, honestly, Shawna or Wendy could tell you that I can get the shot in 5 or 6 frames.
Wow.
Yeah, we don't go on for half an hour. I never stand back and say, do something. No one's ever heard me say that. Because I know what I want. I'm not here to see you do whatever it is that you do.
Right.
Because I know what we're going to do.
Right.
You know. But when you know a girl can do that and send that shot to the moon, it doesn't take very long to get it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I love your work, man. I
Thanks.
really do. we're gonna go to another viewer's question real quick. Let's see.
I'm gonna take another drink.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. Okay. If you were a superhero, who would it be?
Well, this is going to date me. But the only superhero for me really is Superman.
Superman.
Because he could fly, baby.
Yeah,
He could fly. And that X-ray vision, what could be more fun?
Hey.
So no, it would have to be Superman.
All right. Shout out to all of our viewers worldwide. Big ups to everybody that sent in a question. Hey, so Julian, tell me this. What's the difference between the different cameras you use? Is there one main camera that just does it for you, or do you use multiple ones to get the various shots?
You know, for me, it's not about the camera. It's not about the camera whatsoever. I have photographer friends that are camera geeks,
Okay.
and they will talk about their cameras until the cows come home. I couldn't care less. For me, it's, well, I have a Mark IV Canon, and I've got a zoom lens on it that I hardly ever change. I've got, what is my, 24 to 135. I can shoot everything I do with that lens, with that camera, without getting fancy whatsoever. Wow. Every picture you see was probably taken with that zoom lens and with that one camera. There was a point where I had 17 cameras.
Shout out to Canon.
Shout out to Canon. Hey, let's get somebody from Canon.
You see what this guy is doing with your camera?
Yeah, there was a point where I had 17 cameras. I had Nikons and Canons and Olympus and a Pentax. Those days, I'm not fascinated with the camera thing at all. Now I've got a camera that
you found your tool
that does it all.
Does it all for you.
And in my case, it's not so much about the bells and the whistles.
Sure.
It's more about light. And even with light, when photographers come in here, I'm trying to tell them that it's not so much about the light you use, it's how you modify the light. It's how you create light. It's how you manage the light. And a lot of times it's about creating light that is authentic for that particular situation. And a lot of times you just bring out a strobe and an umbrella, it's not going to look real. It's going to look like a strobe and an umbrella in a photography studio. So I'm in a situation where I am usually designing and creating the light for that shot.
Wow, so it's a lot that goes into it, except for just the model and the setup. It's the lighting as well.
Yeah, but it's about modifying the light more than using the light that the lighting people give you. Because when you do that, your lighting looks like everybody else's. And I make a point of my lighting not looking like everybody else's. I want it to look like my light, the way I would light it, you know.
You ever thought of teaching?
Workshops are as close to it as I get. My father was a teacher.
Oh,
coach.
really?
Yeah, so I'm familiar with that.
I mean, you just have so much knowledge, you know what I mean, as far as, you know, your experience and what you've gone through that could maybe shortcut some of the other photographers from having to go through that. That's the reason I asked. I know.
Well, I do like the workshop format the best.
Have you done workshops?
Oh,
You've
yes.
done some workshops.
Yeah.
I think you were telling me
I
about.
don't know if you knew this.
Yeah.
I do regular workshops. I'll do. I'd like to do one every other month. I don't like really doing more than that.
Yes.
But about one every other month. I get a lot of photographers out of Seattle that come.
Okay.
For Portland photographers, I'm just the guy across the street. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm something special if you're out of Seattle.
Right, that's
they
how
have
it
to
always
drive
is
all the way
sometimes.
down here, and they got to drive all the way back. But I do like sharing what I know works, and being in that live. And this is what it looks like, and this is what we're wanting to see here. I can't imagine. I wouldn't enjoy teaching in a classroom.
Sure,
You know, but
sure.
but in a workshop, it's so live and it's so real and it's so immediate, and it's what you see is what you get.
I got you.
And I love setting that shot up and going, well, this is how we're going to get it, and this is how we're going to light it.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
Makes it very real.
Right, right. Has your work ever landed somewhere where you're like, man, I never thought my photographs would be in this or that?
You know, I don't do that kind of thing. There's a lot of avenues that I could do to enter my photographs in context or in a contest.
Yes.
We actually, backstory,
Yeah.
one of my first shots with Raven won a contest in an international contest in erotica.
Wow. Go Raven.
So, yeah, go Raven.
Hey, tell everybody out there, because you
But I don't
mentioned
do
her.
that a lot.
I got you. You mentioned Raven throughout the interview. Tell the people out there who Raven is.
Raven's my wife and my stylist, and makes most of these great things happen. Even that thing that she's wearing
Yes.
from, you know, all that, that's all Raven.
Raven.
You know, but she has a pretty good idea of what I'm looking for. So when she says, "What do you think of this?" 9 times out of 10, I think it's great.
Yeah.
Because she knows what I'm looking for, and she knows how to kind of dial that in.
You guys are a pretty good team, it sounds like,
For
together.
20 years, it's been working pretty good.
That's sweet. That's sweet, man.
So it was working 20 years. You go with that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Are there any photographers that inspired you?
Well, like I said, Helmut Newton. Helmut Newton is like up here. And then there were people like Francesco Scavullo, who shot all of the Cosmopolitan covers.
Okay.
You know, he was a beauty photographer. Those are the guys that really I kind of thought, if I ever grow up, I'd like to do what they're doing.
That's
you know,
cool.
but of course, the Irving Penns and the Richard Avedons. There's a list of photographers that kind of are in my pantheon. But Francesco Scavullo and Helmut Newton, they're on their own level.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
up here.
I got you.
You know?
I got you.
And they really affected me. You know.
If you could give some advice to some of the up-and-coming photographers that's out there right now, what piece of advice would you give them to help them get to their goal faster than it may have taken you to get there?
I get a version of that question almost regularly on now Instagram rather than, say, Facebook.
Sure.
I get a version of that question kind of on a regular basis. And the last one that I got with that kind of thing in mind, you know, I want to shoot beautiful girls like you do. And I said, well, we do workshops to kind of get you into it. But with this one particular person, I got the vibe right away that he wanted the sexy girl thing, but wasn't willing to put the work in, wasn't willing to put the unsung hours in. And I just burned him off. It was like, if you don't have a passion for this and you're not willing to give up everything for this, you're not going to be successful at it. I mean, don't even waste your time thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I kind of got real with him. I said, you don't have a passion for this. You know, you have a passion for the beautiful girl thing, but that's not going to get you here.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to create this level of work just because you like beautiful girls and
Right.
you're 18 years old.
Right.
You know?
Right. And the beautiful girls, they're going to come to respect you because of the professionalism and the photographs that come out. So what you gave him was a great piece of advice.
Well,
Because, you know,
just like you don't have the heart for this. You know, I'll be honest with
Yeah.
you. You may think you do, but trust me, you don't. You don't have
Yeah.
what it takes to give everything that is required to be successful at this.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So find something that you're, you know, have that passion for.
Right,
You know,
right.
because you could be successful at that.
Yeah,
But
maybe
without it,
maybe hop on Tinder and, you know.
yeah, if you're doing this to just see beautiful girls,
hop on
I'm
Tinder,
going to
man.
tell you,
I
it's
mean,
just not going to happen for you.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, you might want to switch
So,
it up.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we would like to look at some of your collection, man, if that's okay. You know, we got
Well-
some stuff going on in the background. So
I didn't tell you this before, but I'll tell you now. What you're seeing now is something that Raven created last night.
Last night.
And it has all of these
like
pictures are from the Love Letters collection.
Tell us about that. Tell us about the love letters. I was reading about that and how, you know, your mother inspired something about that.
But you know how passionate a love letter is?
Yeah.
Try writing a love letter if your heart's not in it. It's not going to
You
happen,
can't.
baby.
You
You
can't.
gotta feel it.
You gotta feel it.
You gotta feel it.
You gotta
You know,
feel it.
so it feels right to me that the first collection that I'm going to make available as a download is called Love Letters.
Okay.
And it really is kind of, the collection is, well, did you read that thing that I sent you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how much you know.
Well,
But-
you were talking about how the
Well, there was a song.
yes,
I think it was called Love Letters, Straight from Your Heart.
straight from your heart.
And it was this was way back. I think it was during the Korean War, and all these servicemen were off in this far land,
Sure.
with their lives at risk, and everybody sang this song. Elvis sang this song. Most of the pop singers at the time sang this song, and my mom would sing it to her 12-year-old son. And I'm listening to the lyrics to this song going, wow, I can hardly wait to be old enough that I can have a girlfriend and I'm going to write her a love letter. Just like this.
Yes.
You know. And so as it turns out, I thought this actually is my love letter to the industry. It's my love letter to the models that have given up so much of their time and kind of bought into my movie. And been such a huge part of making all this happen.
Yes.
You know, without them, I'm just a crazy guy with an idea. So it's kind of my love letter to the models, and a lot of it it's the love letter from the models to the industry, and it's one way of it's actually my way of saying this is what I love.
Yes.
This is what I do. These are the models that I care about.
Sure.
You know, these are the people that are in my life that mean something to me.
Yes.
And so it's very personal. There's nothing in this collection that means nothing to me.
I could tell. I feel that when I look at your work. I feel that when I spoke to some of the models, like in a little bit we're going to be talking to Wendy and Shawna.
Right.
And that's one of the questions I'm going to be
Shawna.
asking. Hey, we
You
talked
won't
to her.
see Shawna like that.
We won't see her like
But
that.
believe me, she can do that.
She'll be joining us in just a little bit, y'all. But yeah, I want to ask them, you know, where their loyalty comes from for you. You know what I mean? Because like you were mentioning something a little bit ago about the guy that wasn't passionate, like he didn't have that passion, and you being able to work with so many beautiful models. You know, Hanna was telling me he's like the Hugh Hefner photography around here, you know, because of your quality of models, you know, and the relationships that you had with them. Some people aren't able to sustain those type of relationships for that long because it'll be a one-shotter. It's like, oh, she came in and shot with me and she doesn't want to work with me anymore, or she's moved on to another photographer. But you keep a select group throughout the years. 'Cause I've seen various photos year after year of the same models, man. And
Well, you get a good one, you rope them in.
how do you keep them all on board with you?
The trick is you got to keep them happy.
Okay.
If the work wasn't happening at a certain level, then I'd shoot with them once and they would be in the wind. You know, so you keep them happy. You make sure that they are getting the kind of things that moves them forward.
Yes.
That represents them well. But I think that's the trick is really just making sure the work is of a certain level.
Yes.
And I do believe I treat my models well. I treat them with the respect that they deserve.
Sure.
And that keeps our relationship kind of on a plane where we can keep doing that.
That's great,
You know,
man. That's great.
The fact that I'm so happily married helps.
Sure.
In ways that only you can
Sure.
understand.
Right,
you
right,
know?
right.
I get everything I need with my relationship with Raven. I need them to come in and model like hell. That's what I need them to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't need anything more than that.
Got
you know?
got you.
And I think they understand that, and that, like I said, just keeps the boat, you know, on a level keel.
That's cool, man. That's
But
cool.
it's fun. It's fun to have people in my life that I've been working with for 10 years.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and nothing beats a beautiful picture of a beautiful girl that you respect and admire. That's a lot of fun to be part of that equation.
Sure.
I've signed up for that.
And I could just imagine, with some of the shots that I've been seeing, when you reveal them to the models after you got them all ready to go, and hey, look at this shot. Do you get a joy from seeing their joy? Because I've seen their joy from them posting up pictures that you've shot, like, oh my God, I just did the best shoot with Julian. You know what I'm saying? Does that bring you joy, to bring them joy as far as, giving them these great shots?
There are two kinds of models. I'm going to answer your question.
Okay.
There are two kinds of models. And you'd only know this if you've had the experience that I've had. There are models that love being in front of the camera. And that's the high for them. I have a tendency to avoid that model.
Okay.
Because for me, it's about the pictures. It's
final-
about the pictures,
Sure,
honestly.
sure.
And it may sound selfish, but I'm really about what can we create together that can be a lasting image.
Gotcha.
If it's and all the girls will always say, "Oh, I had so much fun." Well, you know, for me, it's really not about the fun. I'm having fun, believe me.
Sure.
I'm having fun, but it's about what we can create. And I have a tendency to work the most with girls that kind of join me on that. It's about what we can create together, not about me being naked on camera.
Got you.
That's a different kind of model. But like I said, I have a tendency not to be so interested in that model because I'm looking for something that you know is that we can keep. That's art at the end of the day.
Sure.
You know?
You were mentioning off camera how you'll come up with an idea and you'll give the model some pointers on it and just kind of let her run with it sometimes. I mean, as far as, you know, how does that work?
You know something? That's almost a question I would save for somebody like Shawna or for somebody like Wendy.
Okay.
Sometimes something happens that I'm not expecting. And what happens when that happens is that something that I didn't plan, like even that shot, I don't relate to it as well. Does that make sense? It's almost like a child from another person's relationship. It's not my child. It's not my image. It's not my idea. So I don't relate to it the well. I have a tendency to appreciate and value the shots that I can relate to.
I got you. Has any of the models ever came with an idea for you after shooting with you and said, hey, you know what? We shot this by the fireplace or we shot this by the one couch. What do you think about doing it like this?
That conversation has never happened.
Really? So you're always the creative.
I wouldn't be so good with that conversation. Yeah.
I got you. I got you.
But even people like Shawna, it's neat that she's here.
Hi,
even
Shawna.
people
We're
like
gonna be talking to you
Shawna,
in a minute. She's back there chilling. In
who
the
I've
green
shot
room.
for 10 years.
Yeah.
Shawna knows never to ask me, and I don't think she ever has, the question, what are we going to do? The reason is that, to be honest, I usually had kind of a gestalt of what we're going to do, but I can't really say what it is. I can't really spell it out. I kind of have an idea of what we're going to do, but I can't really tell you what it is. And a lot of times, when a girl comes through the door, this is how we usually work.
Okay.
The girl, even if it's Shawna or Wendy, we will sit down for about 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll just shoot the breeze. And honestly, that's where the images come from, where I'm kind of vibing where they are, you know, how comfortable they are. And for some reason, that's when the images start for me. And I have never had to actually plan a shoot.
Wow.
Never. I've never planned a shoot, and I would never give this to a photographer as a way to do this, because you might get really screwed up if you don't have a plan.
Sure.
And in my case, I have so many toys available. I have so much history. I'm working with girls that anything I can think of, they can do, that I can, you know, just spur of the moment.
Right.
Think of what I'm going to do. I mean, very few images on here. Well, I would say I planned that out. You know, I would have a hard time looking at all these images and say, oh, well, I planned that. You know, because it happens kind of while we're doing it also.
Got you.
And on a shoot like that, I know that I'm shooting a horizontal. I know that I'm using the steps. In order for her body to look good, I know she has to be lined up a certain way.
Sure.
So honestly, there's not a lot of X factor in this.
Got you.
If that makes sense.
It does, because you're seasoned, and it's like, you know, when you're preparing a meal that you've cooked already, you know what goes into it.
A chef can make anything if you just give him a few ingredients.
There you go.
I have the ingredients. We can do this.
There you go.
So, and we do it on the fly. You know, we just do it on the fly.
So when is your Love Letters collection going to be dropping?
Well, let's see here. the best way to do it, we thought it might be available today as a download.
Oh,
We're
okay.
probably a couple days away because there's some things that we have to do with the mechanics to make it available as a download. But if you go to our website, I'll say it right here.
Go ahead.
Wildevision.com, wildevision.com, wild with an E.
Wild with
How
an
else
E.
would you spell wild? I get that all the time. Is that Wilde? No, that's
Wilde.
wild as in wild.
Right.
So wildevision.com, and we'll have an email sign up thing that you can get on, and then that will tell you exactly when the download is available.
Gotcha.
And they're basically an hour long. I think this is an hour and 10 minutes long. For reasons that may or may not be obvious, you're not seeing everything in the collection.
Sure.
I'm showing you what's available on, say, Facebook.
Okay.
These are all Facebook-friendly images. Now, that's
Sure.
an erotic shot, to be sure.
Sure.
But it's Facebook, safe.
Right.
However, the Love Letter collection is rated W.
Rated
And
W.
unless you ask me what W means, I'm just saying, just think about it.
Okay.
All
right.
It's not anything goes, but it's part of our
A little
branding
more, okay.
that we will step over the line from time to time.
Gotcha.
So don't think you know what's going to happen,
Hey,
because
I'm
you
excited.
don't.
I'm excited to see this.
So we
man.
keep it on that kind of edge.
That's cool.
That it's mostly like social media friendly. But if you don't throw in something every now and then that keeps it interesting, people think they've got your number. I wouldn't want anybody to think that.
So we got some surprises.
Yeah,
in the
there'll be
Love
some
Letter
surprises,
collection.
yeah.
Okay. And you're going to be putting out a series of those. You said, you're going to start with one
You know,
collection and then.
I actually did this. I did all the work during the pandemic. When your phone's not ringing, baby, you better think of what you can
got
do with
things to
yourself
do, yeah.
for 24 hours a day.
Right,
So I
right.
went into the archives.
Okay.
And we were very, during the pandemic, we were very careful about who we would have in.
Oh, yeah.
And
absolutely.
we vetted absolutely every client. And I have a tendency to stay with my regulars because I didn't want people walking through that door that I didn't know. I didn't know what they were doing in their weekend down in Vegas. I didn't want that in my studio.
Yeah.
So we basically, I started looking at the millions of images that I have to
Sure.
draw from. I thought, I'm kind of working in certain categories. I see, whether it's boudoir or whether it's beauty or whether it's fantasy or dreamlike images. I kind of had a tendency to see myself working in these categories. And so I made the categories official and started channeling work into the different categories. And in Love Letters, out of the millions of images, that's Wendy, out of the millions of images that we have, I, like I said, created these collections, all during that, what would have been downtime, but I'm strapped to the computer during the entire pandemic
I
doing
bet.
this.
That is
So-
cool, man.
I don't know if- did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I love your work. And with your studio design, I remember you saying off camera too, like, you've switched it around so much that people can't really tell where you're at. You know what I mean? Or was all that taken in the same location? You know what I mean? And I've often wondered, like, man, this guy must have a palace somewhere.
The size of a Costco.
And taking these pictures in all these rooms. It's right, the size of a Costco, because they're all different.
So when people walk in here, I can almost see the laugh. They just kind of go, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But you got to see it to believe it.
You gotta
And
see
then
it
they
to
go,
believe
okay,
it.
I get it. I see how you do it.
Yeah. So,
But even every one of these, that particular set,
yes.
one day.
Wow.
I only had that set for one day. I did that shot and thought, well, you know what? I think that's it. I think we're moving on.
Wow.
Scratch it,
That's deep, man.
But my favorite thing, now that this comes up, is honestly beauty.
Yes.
I started out as a beauty photographer, and I shot for agencies. The agencies like the Seattle Models Guild would send me 7-8 models a day, and this is for years. And they really wanted just kind of beauty out of me. So
Yeah.
I shot headshots. For the longest time on gray backdrop paper.
Sure.
And then there came a point where I thought, I need to create the place. I need to create the ambience.
Yes.
And
yes.
and that's when photography got really interesting for me.
I bet that's a
Yeah.
lot of fun, man. And you said you did architecture,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you build all your sets and.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's part of the gift.
Part
you know,
of the
if I
gift.
didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing.
Yes.
But you know, creating a set that is kind of erotic and suggestive.
We got the mascot.
This
in
is
the
my
building.
this is my boy.
What's up, man? How you doing?
That's my boy.
We got to get your microphone hooked up so we can talk to you a little bit about.
He did this during the demo that we shot. He came out during the demo and sat there. And went, okay, well, let's get him in the shot.
Came out to say what's up. That's cool, man.
So anyway, when we got Bodie, I fell in love with him at the Humane Society.
Okay.
That's what they call it, right?
Yes,
We
yes,
used to call
yes.
it the pound.
The pound.
The dog pound.
Right.
So anyway, we're seeing him behind a glass window.
Yes.
And he came up to the window and looked at me and sat down. And I just went, oh, well, we were there just to look at cats. Mm-hmm. And I had such a connection with him. I said, I think that's my cat. So she got the handler to come out, but he had such a bad reputation. I'm talking bad reputation.
Was he tearing him up in there?
No, he was tearing it up. So, but the handler told us, well, we can't take you into a side room because we don't want to move him.
Wow.
We don't want to have to pick him up.
Right.
So
right.
she said, you're going to have to look at him inside here with all the other cats. So we went in through the side door and he kind of wrapped around our legs. And she said, you know, here's the thing. You're probably never going to be able to pick him up or hold him. I said, screw that. We're taking him.
Yeah, he'll get used to us.
Because I thought I just loved him so much. Well, actually, I wish he'd come over here so I could pick him up. Because I pick him up every day. I pick him up every day and tell him how much I love him. But
and he's been in several shots too.
That was not supposed to be that way.
He's been in some shots that I've seen, right?
Yeah, he is. He's good. He's very handsome.
Now, how is it working with a pet when you're doing the
Well,
shots?
the cat, we have two cats, and they are here 24/7. They may not come out.
Sure.
But they are here 24/7. And what you have not seen is that we have pretty cat-friendly furniture, but more to the point, when models are not here, everything's covered up. That chair you're sitting in is covered up.
Got you.
Because cats have, they have certain needs.
Oh, yeah.
And so I let them work that out on other things, but not the furniture.
Not the furniture.
Anyway.
Is there anything you want to accomplish that you haven't yet with your photography?
J-Mac, I want to keep doing what I'm doing.
Just keep doing what you're
I
doing.
want to keep doing what I'm doing as long as I can, because I'm not hooked up to a plow or a corporate sponsor that says, Julian, this is what we want you doing.
Yeah.
Every day I get out of bed and say, well, wouldn't it be fun to have Shawna come over and shoot something different, So I'm happy doing that. There's nothing else I'd rather do. I don't even have a bucket list. I like what I'm doing. I'd be happy doing it as long as I can do it.
That's sweet. That's cool, man. Now, are females all you shoot? I mean, you've shot our group back in the days.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah,
My friend Hannah, he likes to take pictures of females as well, and Raj, that's
you can't blame them.
That's their preference,
You can't
pretty
blame
much, But have male models approached you and said, "Hey, man, you do some great stuff. I would love to."
I shoot a few, but I only shoot them if they kind of work into, I need them. I need a guy for this shot to work.
Sure. So someone couldn't just say, "Hey, man, how much for me to come in and do a shoot at your studio?"
Yeah, $600 an hour.
$600 an hour.
Yeah,
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
And just between you and me, that burns most of them off.
All right.
You don't have to worry about that.
Hey, there you go. Unless they're real serious about it.
And the ones that are serious about it, they will come in and we'll get it on.
Yeah. Heck yeah. That's cool, man. Well, hey, we want to see some of your collection, I think.
Well, you're seeing it right now.
Don't we have some of his stuff that we were going to check out? Yeah, okay. Well, we're going to go to a break real quick. Hey, I'm here with my man, Julian James Wilde, y'all. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a little break, and we're going to be right back at you. We're live in PDX. It's your guy, J-Mac. Peace.
Un film qui s'achève sur l'écran, y a plus s'achève laisse toujours un goût bizarre. L'envie de sourire ou bien l'envie de pleurer quand ce film résume ton passé. Plus de scénario. Un film qui s'achève, y a des acteurs mal dans leur peau. Des images folles de violence et de tendresse, de fureur et de stupide faiblesse. Ça se fait dans le cœur, ça se fait, j'ai si peur. Arrêtez d'applaudir. Cette histoire ne veut rien dire. Ça se passe dans le cœur. Ça se passe, j'ai si peur. Ça ne peut finir comme ça. J'en suis sûre, il reviendra. Un film qui s'achève au premier rang, y a plus personne. Un film qui s'achève, cet espoir qui m'emprisonne. La musique change, me soutient dans ses caresses, me surprend fragile et puis me blesse.
Hey, right back with you, world. Hey, shout out to all of our loved ones that are watching this. It's your guy, J-Mac, the host with the most, and we are live in PDX. Right now, we are at Wilde Vision Studios. I'm with Mr. Julian Wilde. We've been talking to him about some of his art, some of his photography, what got him into the business, and some of the great people that he's been blessed to work with that share in his creations. We have some beautiful ladies that have just joined us, some of his models that have participated in multiple photo sessions, and I mean, the pictures are absolutely amazing. We're going to be chatting with those models and get a little bit of their insight towards how it's been with them working with Julian. So I'd like to welcome our guests. How you guys doing? We have Miss Wendy Lynn and Miss Shawna Colton. Good to see y'all today. How y'all doing?
Very good.
Good, good. Hey, Wendy, let's start with you. How has it been working with this guy right here?
It's been epic. It's been a dream. to be honest. Yeah. He has passion. I'm a passionate person. When you get two passionate people in a room together, you get energy, you get synergy, you get art. And that's an absolute dream for any model. Because a lot of times you get photographers who, they want to create a great picture, or they want their art to stand out, not necessarily yours. Or you get a model that wants her art to stand out, not necessarily the photographer. But when you get both of those minds that are synced on the same, let's create epic art that's going to last and be a legacy, you create what Julian creates. And it's amazing. I mean, you look at something and it's not just sensual, it's classy. It's not just a story, it's a tale. There's so much more to it, you know?
I feel you. Like they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. It's like you see that in every photo, like, wow, you know? I see some of your rocks in that picture there, Julian, that you were talking about. Do you use some of your rocks from the beach in some of your shots?
I do.
I saw a couple.
Yeah, and we had in another 10,000 square foot studio, we had a rock beach out of these polished rocks that I had collected and tumbled. That was, it was as big as this carpet here.
Wow.
A whole beach of polished rocks. That was pretty. To me.
I got you.
That's the kind of thing
creative.
That's so pretty.
Creative.
That's very creative.
And there's another big rock over there that I have had since I started out in photography. I've been hauling that big white rock around with me.
Wow.
For decades.
That's your rock.
That's a real rock
That's
for you.
a real rock for you. Shawna, I'm going to ask you the same question. How has it been for you working with Julian Wilde?
Gosh, it has been an adventure. Julie and I have been working together for nearly a decade.
Wow.
Coming up here. So, I mean, it's from day one till now, it's been a complete friendship. Definitely a photographer that I've been comfortable with this whole time. Obviously, the pictures speak for themselves. We have thousands of them together. Thousands more to create.
There you go. There you go.
Hopefully.
Now, had you seen some of his work prior to you doing your shots with Julian?
I did. It was through another friend who was working with him, and I thought her pictures were just amazing, and decided to reach out via social media.
Okay.
And had the opportunity to sit down, and it was a friendship and a work relationship ever since.
That's great. That's great. Were you at all intimidated a little bit by being able to work with him because of some of the shots that you had previously seen, or did you feel like this is where I need to be?
I knew that if he chose me, I made it at that point. I was enthralled. I was ecstatic. Yeah.
That's cool. What's your favorite part about the shots?
Honestly, pretending that I'm in a fairy tale. I don't feel like I'm modeling. There's no paper backdrop. There's no styrofoam in the corner. Pretend to be something else. Everything's authentic. So I have a background in acting, so I just pretend that I'm a persona, what he's saying he wants out of it. There's just a camera, nothing else, and I'm just playing in this playhouse.
That is sweet. That's sweet.
Yeah.
The other thing about Shawna that you would never know, unless you were watching her work, is that, I don't know if I've ever told you about this, but Shawna, when Shawna's on set, it takes her to go from this girl to the other girl, it takes her about a second, maybe a half second, but there is this shift in her that happens, and I love watching her come and go. But when she goes into that other person, I'm not dealing with this person anymore. You know, she's an actor, and she just brings it all to the party. And she's a different girl. She's somebody that you will not see today. You know?
I got you.
Yeah, and that's one of the fun things about her. And then she also, within that persona, can dial it up and down to the degree that is. I've seen very few girls be able to do that. To take a character and kind of dial it up and dial it down. You know, to exactly what we're looking for.
Wow.
And every time she comes in, she almost without a question will do something different that I'm never expecting. And it almost is like a slap. Like, whoa, I did not see that coming.
Wow, wow.
But that comes from the other person.
Got you. So one of the things I noticed too, looking at all these gorgeous photos, is both of you ladies are in like excellent shape. You know what I mean? Your bodies are banging. I mean, you guys look like you really put in the work to get it popping like that. You know what I mean? Now you do fitness, right, Wendy?
I do, yeah.
Tell me about the importance of being fit with what you do. How does that play a part in your modeling? Does it make you feel more confident about yourself? You know, does it make you just feel like, hey, I've worked hard for this body, I'm a rocket?
That's kind of where it is now. I've always just been an athlete. I've only been modeling for 2 years. So,
Really?
yeah, it's just, it was kind of a weird twist of fate in that in order to step on stage, I needed to have more of a presence, that they're like, you need to go to a modeling clinic, and the rest is kind of history. And they're like, oh, you should be a model. I'm like, oh, okay. So I've always just been the athlete, and it's been an amazing twist of events to be able to be a model. I've always looked up to models and been like, how do you do that and pull that off and make that art?
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, to be able to show off, somebody said something to me once, like, your body is like the canvas that most painters have. And that is, I mean, as a figure girl on stage, you know, you sit in the gym and you're like, how can I make that muscle pop more? What exercises can I do to make that quad show? So, yeah.
Well, you got it popping.
To be able to have him turn this into art is amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
she makes a really good point in the fact that to do this, to do this level of work, you kind of have to be good at about 360 degrees.
Yeah.
You know, every angle has to work because we're using most of them. So if I get a girl that I know that you can spin her around and it's flawless all the way through,
Yes.
then we can do this. You know, there's nothing that we can't do.
Okay.
But yeah, both these girls have that.
Yes.
And then of course we talked about Shawna. We talk about Shawna a lot, but with Wendy, I've only known her for, I don't know, a couple of months.
2 months.
2 months.
Wow.
But Wendy comes through the door, and by the time I get her at the car, we talk a minute in here. A few minutes later, we're in the bathroom together, and I'm gargling. And I don't gargle in front of anyone, but I'm gargling in front of Wendy.
You're
And I remember I
comfortable.
looked at her, I said, I never do this. But when you have that kind of relationship, you know you're on, that's good solid ground.
There you go. I felt like you solid after that. You know what I mean? You know, see a man gargle, he's like, it's my homie for life.
Exactly.
I seen this dude gargle.
We go way back.
Way back, way back. Now, let me ask you ladies this. I noticed in some of the pictures that there's various poses with 2 of you or 3 of you. How is it putting those type of shots together as to if it was just you in front of the camera, as to you working with this model or this model?
Oh, those shoots are always fun. I
Yeah?
mean, that's just playing around with more girlfriends. We
I could dig it.
feed off each other's energy. It's a lot more playful.
I see that in the photos, like kind of playful, sensuous, and just like
But
sexy,
getting
just
3
sexy.
girls together is a lot more challenging than it sounds. I mean, it's difficult. You know, you can get 2 girls together, but even they have to vibe really well together.
and then you know, to capture that shot where, like you were mentioning, the 3 girls, 2 of them might look perfect, but maybe you didn't have that look that I wanted. How is that to get all 3 of them looking the exact way you want them to look in that exact shot?
It's really difficult. Yeah, it's not something that I set out to do very often because it's so challenging. But if I put my head on it and I go, you know, well, so-and-so would look good with so-and-so. And then, you know what, if we brought in so-and-so, that would be an interesting triple. But I have a tendency I like to work with one model at a time because then I can give them my complete attention and I can make sure that they look better than ever. Once you put another model in, now you have to think about how are they reacting, how are they relating to each other?
Yes.
And when they do that, did they still both look at their best?
Right.
And like the X Factor just takes that shot off the charts where it's like, it's hard to work that shot. You get what you get.
Yeah.
And I'm not into that.
I got you.
If I got one girl, I know I can have her look amazing.
Right. I got you, man. Well, you know, when you do the multiple shots, those look amazing as well, man. So
There's a lot of luck involved there.
yeah, I commend you on your expertise and your work and the amount of hours you put in, like you were mentioning, you know. And then let me ask you this, Shawna. I'll ask Wendy, what do you do for physical fitness? Because your body is banging. I mean, were you an athlete as well?
I have been working in fitness for 18 years.
Oh, okay.
So I actually
okay.
help manage a gym. But no, I actually started off very rocky with the birth defect, so fitness was actually out of the picture until I decided that that's nonsense. And then from like 16 on, when I was actually discovered by an agency, scrawny little thing, I'm just like, no, I'm gonna build up my body, and I've just been obsessed with fitness ever since. And as she said, it's probably the most important thing you can do, because we're constantly critiquing our bodies, we're constantly looking at ourselves in the mirror. So I think we're very aware of our angles.
That's
100%.
cool. And you guys' skin is just beautiful too. I mean, I know that's probably important. I mean, you know, wearing the makeup and making sure, you know, your your skin has to be popping too. You know what I mean? What do you guys do for your skin? What's your secret?
A lot of makeup.
A lot of makeup?
A lot of makeup.
Oh, stop.
Some water.
Some water.
And
Aqua.
it's a lot of nutrition.
That's cool.
We could probably both answer that
Nutrition
question
and water.
the same.
I
Nutrition and water.
Yeah, I rarely wear makeup, to be honest. So that's a lot of it too, letting your skin breathe, and then just, yeah.
And Shawna watches what she eats. She amazes me. It's like she's a
staring.
little scientist. She watches
count your
absolutely
calories, huh?
everything she eats.
We're staring at those donuts over there.
Oh, yeah. I had one a little bit ago.
You don't eat that, you just watch it.
So,
But these girls, if they're 2 pounds over, they know it.
really?
You know, and I've got to lose 2 pounds. And Shawna will tell me, I've got to lose 2 pounds. Go, no, honey, you look great.
Now, let
I've
me
gotta
ask you
lose
this,
2 pounds.
Going on to that, so the clothing and sometimes non-clothing that you may wear, how is that selected and determined when you have your discussion? Is it something you call the models up, Julian, and say, hey, I need you to bring in this type of outfit or bring these? Or
Raven
how does it-
Raven really does all the curating of the clothes.
Okay.
And because she knows what I like, you're rarely going to see anything on this, except for the lingerie companies that I shoot for.
Yes.
If it's some kind of an outfit, it's Raven's.
Wow.
And she knows that I'll enjoy. She'll see a certain thing. She'll know that I'll enjoy shooting that in this kind of an environment, and she'll get it. And same thing happens with the jewelry. That's all her.
Wow.
Nobody rarely brings anything into the studio to shoot in.
So I was wondering, because it's like everything just looks so good on the models, you know, from the jewelry, dresses, the lingerie, it's just all.
And the shoes.
And the
I mean,
shoes,
there's a
yes.
certain model that we're
Yes.
looking for, and they happen to be a certain shoe size too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
8.5, 9.
Right. Yeah.
Or in Shawna's case, an 8. you know.
That's all good.
But yeah, there's a parameters that we're watching. You know, that these things will work on these people.
Wow. See that piano right there.
She had to shoot with the piano.
Had to shoot
That was
with
just
the
part of the
piano.
deal. I got to shoot with the piano. She's
Very
actually a
nice.
dancer down in Vegas, and I mean like a dancer, not like a stripper. If I meant
right,
stripper, I'd have
right.
said stripper. She's
A non-pole dancer.
You're right. A non-pole dancer. I don't want to get the wrong idea out there.
I got you. So let me ask you this, Julian. When you look at your whole collection throughout the years that you've been doing this, is there any photographs that just like stand out to you? Just like that one right there. I remember that time I shot that. I remember how it came out and how I felt. Are there any standout photos of you and these ladies?
Well, you know, honestly, this collection of the Love Letter collection,
Yes.
these really all are my favorites. And when I have to edit a collection like this, for example, behind the scenes story.
Okay.
For the Love Letter collection, I have just under 2,000 images picked out and edited. Of the 2,000, I can only use 120 per collection. So we have 4 collections of love letters. But having to pick through those and say, well, this one stays and this one goes, it's a Sophie's choice for me. It's difficult.
I bet.
Because I relate to all of them.
Yes.
You know, whether it's my favorite girl, whether it's my favorite shoot with them, they all mean a lot to me. There's not many throwouts in there. So it's difficult to edit a collection like this.
So do the ladies get to put their input on? Like, you know, some models be like, man, I like that, but I like this one better.
You know, here's the deal. The girls that come to me, and Dan Reed. Do you remember Dan Reed?
Shout out to Dan Reed.
Okay,
That's
shout
my
out to
guy.
Dan Reed.
Big ups,
Dan
Dan
Reed
Reed
said something to me that it was like, you know, that's perfect. But he came in with his shoot with me, and I said, you know, what are you looking for, Dan? He goes, do the voodoo, that you do. And that the girl that says that to me gets the most out of me. The girl that comes to me and I've got a blueprint, I want you to copy what this photographer did, that girl should not be shooting with me. That's just, I'm the wrong photographer for that.
So she needs to be more open-minded and.
Yeah, and if you like what we do, we're gonna do what we do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Ladies, how do you guys feel after a shot? You know, because usually you guys get to see it probably after the shot, but while you're shooting it, I know in your mind you're probably wondering, man, I hope this looks cool. I hope this looks cool. And then when you finally see that photo, you know, that just like, have you guys ever been blown away by any of his work? Like, oh my God, this picture right here.
Shawna's actually the best in this category.
Yeah,
because while we're shooting, I love to look at I'll look at every image.
Okay.
You know? And if
So
I
you
don't
look at them while you're shooting.
And if I don't show her,
I ask.
kind of on a
you wanna-
regular basis,
okay.
she'll go, I want to see. You know, and I love that. Because
Yeah.
if you're not interested in the photo, you don't need to be here. Because we're into this for the photo.
That's cool.
Well, it lets me see your vision, so I know what I'm supposed to be changing
Yeah.
and how we can make it better.
But then there are girls where you show them the photo, and it's like you just speaking a foreign language.
Or they like,
I'm
delete that
insisting
one.
not to bring those girls
Delete
back.
that one.
If you don't love what we're doing, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
That's it.
I got you, man. You know, it seems like you guys have a great formula, and I'm very proud of all of you guys and the art that you guys have put out there. And if there's anything that you could say, Shawna, to any of the aspiring women out there that would love to do what you do, and what advice would you give them? Because it's a hard industry to get involved with, and like you were saying, Wendy, it's like some sketchy photo guys out there, and you got to find the right one. What advice would you give to the young ladies out there that want to be in your position?
If you're passionate about it, obviously go for it. Trust who you work with, ask questions, always take a friend or an escort, and just really be involved. Treat your body right, treat your mind right.
Some good advice.
She actually brought up a point that I found myself actually talking about with a model that was just on the screen there. And it was about, she's new to the business.
Okay.
And some of the horror stories, they're true. And I said, you know, here's what's going to happen. At some point, a photographer is going to touch you in a way that you're not comfortable with. I want you to practice, practice saying to yourself out loud, I'm uncomfortable with you touching me like that, and I'd prefer if you just told me what you want me to do. Say that over and over, because there'll come a point where you have to say that, and you don't want that coming out of your mouth for the first time. You want to be comfortable saying that, because you want to, if that's something that makes you uncomfortable, you need to get on top of that right away.
Yeah, and say it like you mean it.
Before it happens again.
Right.
You know, and it's now an escalated situation. So just knowing that you're going to be okay saying that out loud in front of someone kind of helps get you there.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Because like I said, some of that stuff is true. A lot of it's garbage, but the stuff that's true, be ready for it. You know, and the way is just kind of walk through that in your own mind and with your own voice. So that if it happens, you're prepared.
That's some great wisdom, Julian.
Be prepared.
And what about you, Wendy? What would you tell the young ladies out there that want to be where you're at?
Yeah, I would say definitely be yourself. When I started modeling, I love life, I love people, and so I just kind of brought the energy of smiling, and I had photographers literally look at me and say, I don't want you to smile.
I've heard that too.
And I was like, well, that's not who, and I tried, you know, for a few months I tried to put pictures up that wasn't smiling, and, you know, at least for the people that know me, and so then I appreciate their opinion.
Yes.
They're like, no, you bring an energy when you smile that's different than anybody else. That's who you are. That is your trademark. That is what you want to convey. So I would say stick with your guns if you're a new person, and stick with who you are and what you have to offer, because it might be exactly what the world needs.
Wow.
You know.
Wow. Great advice. Great advice. I hope y'all got your pen and pads out there, ladies, and it's making your notes. Big ups to all of our viewers worldwide. We're live in PDX. It's your guy, J-Mac. We're at Wilde Vision Studios, y'all, with Wendy Lynn, Julian Wilde, Shawna Colton, y'all. We here chilling. Big ups to Desert Media. I got to give my guys a shot. And if you guys want your businesses covered, you want us to come to your location, please leave a comment when you see this video. Leave a comment in our section, all right? Let us know if you want to, you know, come have us, you know, film your business, and we'll give you a quote on the pricing and all of that good stuff, because we love to let people shine and get your art out there, get your business out there, and get some publicity for all the hard work that you've been putting in. Ladies, gentlemen, I love what y'all do, man. I love what y'all do. I would love to just come and just watch a whole session take place. Have you ever done that?
We might do that at some point. We do this first.
Yeah, we'll get
and
this
then we do that later.
We'll do that later.
Yeah.
We'll do that later, man.
You're on board now.
I want to watch the magic trans. I want to just, be a fly on the wall. You know what I mean? So what are your plans for your future with your career?
I'm just along for the ride.
I heard
honestly.
that.
Yeah.
I heard that. It's been a good ride. It sounds like 10
yeah.
years doing your thing. Have you had a chance to do any work with any designers, or have people seen your photos that Julian has done and say, hey, we want to use you for this? Has his work helped you to get gigs out here in the fashion world?
I honestly don't really know. I do this for myself. I post for myself.
Yes.
People who maybe message me, I don't really acknowledge them. I'm not really trying to do a whole lot, but just have fun right
Just
here.
have
at
fun
Wild
doing
Vision.
your art.
Yeah.
That's sweet. That's sweet. Well, if people want to see more of your art, more of your photos, how can they do so?
Just through Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook and
Yeah,
Instagram.
that's
All
pretty
right.
much.
And what about you, Wendy?
Well, yeah, it's fun, but I definitely have a goal. So growing up, I always got, I'm from the generation where they shoved the runway models at you and told you that was the only thing that was beautiful. And so being 5'3", I was definitely not in that category.
Wait, 5'3"?
Yeah.
Hold on, you got to stand up. I don't think you're 5'3". I'm just playing.
So I guess my goal of starting my Instagram and modeling, I have 3 girls. So
You have 3 girls?
I have 3 girls.
What?
Yeah. So I want to be a motivation and a kind of a role model for the next generation of women, in that they love their body. And I'm not talking the new stuff where we say, okay, go ahead and be really overweight, because that's not healthy. I mean, I'm a nutritionist too, and I know that's not healthy.
Sure.
So we've gone from runway models to overweight, and neither of those were healthy. So my goal in modeling is to show women that getting in the gym and getting strong physically,
Yes.
which also makes them strong mentally,
Yes.
is actually where it's at. And so my motto is strong is sexy.
Strong
And
and sexy. I
so
love that.
that's-
I love that.
Yeah, so I want that next generation. I know you too. 'Cause we want those girls. I mean, there's nothing better than seeing a girl transform who they are when they get in the gym and start lifting those free weights and seeing the strength that they have within themselves.
Sure.
And it's beautiful. It's
That's
just beautiful.
dope. That's dope. I love that. I love that. It's been a great interview.
They both said something that I kind of had a follow-up on, or a kind of a reaction to.
Sure,
it.
sure.
It reminds me of the question, which I get all the time. It's what are you looking for in a model? So they want to hear something from me that validates what they've got going on. And I feel like they want me to say, I'm looking for high cheekbones and long, shapely legs. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but this business is almost like real life. You hang out with the people that you enjoy. Does that make sense?
It does.
I don't
It
care if
does.
you've got the cheekbones and the long legs. That'll happen,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
not out there looking for it.
Yeah, yeah.
You hang out with people that you enjoy.
Right.
If you don't, you probably should think about that as an option.
There you
you
go.
know. So that's my answer to that question. Oftentimes I find myself working with someone because I just enjoy them.
And you have
know?
a chemistry together.
Yeah,
you know?
and you've got to have the chemistry. I've tried it before with some models that I don't have that kind of chemistry. Sometimes, rare case, a girl and she was a Chicago model, big model.
Yes.
Wrote the book on modeling. And I wanted nothing more than to shoot her and then hang up my hat. I was done at that
Wow.
point. Well, I don't know, this was 15 years ago. But she
No
came in the
repeat- no
studio.
repeat shots.
She came in the studio. We did our thing. She jumped into the elevator, and it was just like, did that really happen? There was no chemistry whatsoever. And I don't mean sexual. I mean just a sense of knowing the other person. And
do you feel that has a reflection on the shot itself? Like when you look back at those shots?
well,
can you
I don't
see-
have, there's nothing about that gives me pleasure looking at those shots, because I just don't relate to it. We didn't actually get a chance to actually see
Jill.
each other.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
You know, so those shots mean very little to me at all, even though she's one of the most recognized, one of the most famous girls I've ever shot. But the shots don't really mean anything to me for that reason.
I got you.
But like, if anything, I'd say it's like real life. You know,
Yes.
you hang out with the people you enjoy.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
cheekbones or legs, they're not. You know, if you enjoy the person, you make it work.
Yeah, you make music with people you like to jam with.
There you go. Yeah.
That's cool. So, Julian, if people want to see more of your work that's out there watching this right now, go ahead and shoot out your website to them.
My website, once again, is wildevision.com. And that's the best way to kind of keep up with this. But I'm, as we were saying earlier, I'm probably the most overexposed person around, in the fact that everything about me happens on Facebook. You know, if you're on Facebook,
I've seen
you're
you
going
on
to see
there.
what we're doing day to day.
Yeah,
And I don't
yeah.
mean yesterday. You see what we're doing today.
Yes.
You know, I posted last night what we're doing today. You know?
Yes, yes.
So that is the best way to stay up to the second with us is Facebook and of course Instagram. But I enjoy Facebook so much more. I don't know about you. I like writing.
Yeah,
You know, and
Facebook
on
is cool.
Instagram, you know, you just can't do that.
Right.
So I'm very present on Facebook.
That's
Probably
great.
the most way.
And what is your Facebook handle for those that?
Is it just my name?
Okay. There you go.
Help me.
Julian Wilde.
Is it just Julian James Wilde? Our director says yes.
The director says yes. Julian James Wilde.
And the same thing
Julian
for
James
Instagram.
Wilde.
I'm the only Julian James Wilde out there.
That's what's up.
So.
That's what's up. But make sure you guys check him out. Julian James Wilde. We're at Wilde Vision Studios. We are live in PDX. It's your guy, J Mac. We're going to be right back in a hot second. Y'all don't go nowhere. Dozen Media. Got to give my guys a big shout out. Shout out to Raj. Shout out to Hannah. Hey, shout out to our guy behind the camera doing his thing. What up, man? What up, man?
And our studio audience.
And our studio audience. We love you guys. We love you guys. Thank you. Hey,
Two of them.
shout out to Raven for all of her wonderful creations and being a part of this whole beautiful thing. Check out his collections. Make sure you guys go to his website. And we're going to take a little break and we'll be right back live in PDX. It's your guy, J Mac. Peace. Hey, right back at you, y'all. It's your guy, J Mac. We are live in PDX. Hey, we're going to be wrapping it up, y'all. And I would just like to give a shout out to our guest, Wendy Lynn. Our other model right here, beautiful Shawna Colton. Big ups, my man. The man himself, y'all. Julian James Wilde. Big ups. Thank you guys so much for joining us for Live in PDX. Appreciate having y'all here. We're going to pop a couple of bottles, y'all. Shout out to Barefoot Bubbly. We about to have some of this pink Moscato. It's a celebration. Love Letters is about to be launched soon. We're going to celebrate a little bit and turn up one time. Make sure you guys follow us. Make sure you guys friend us. Make sure you guys sign up on our Live in PDX page. Let us know what's hot out there that you guys would like us to cover. And like I said before, if you guys have a business that you would like some exposure to, leave us a little note. We'll contact you and let you know what the prices are for us to come and, you know, shine the light on you, all right? Get your message across and get your gear out there, your product line, or whatever service you may provide. Hey, this guy's been working hard in the industry, and we salute you, man. Appreciate you. Y'all stay tuned for more. It's your guy, J Mac, and we're live in PDX. Yeah, baby. Peace. Woo!
Live in PDX brings you closer to the talent, artists, events, and businesses. Live in PDX supports and appreciates what all professions, individuals, and groups have to offer. We'll take you to the music, to the fashion, to the hot rods and sports. All the entertainment and food you can indulge yourself in, and more. So join us live in PDX.